Hi wonderful people, I remain your girl Akorede Adenike. You are highly welcome to my channel. If this is the first time of you checking on my channel, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell for you to be notified each time I upload new video. And I want to use these opportunities to say a big thank you to you, my old and new subscribers. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. In this tutorial today, I would like to teach you how to cut and sew sleeveless dress, and at the same time it's a turtleneck design. At the down part of it, there's going to be a gathers. This is the fabric I'm using for it today, Ankara fabric. This is the lining for it. This is the zipper, and this is my interfacing for the collar. So let's move into it. The measurement I'm needing for the tutorial today are my back measurement, my shoulder to bust point measurement, my shoulder to under bust measurement, and my shoulder to waist measurement, and at the same time my shoulder to the full length of the dress. And I'm going to need all the circumferences for it. So, and to know the amount of fabric I'm putting on for the upper part, because I'm making the upper part first, I'm going to use the biggest part of the upper part to calculate my measurement out, which is 38. My bust measurement is 38 divided by 4 will give me 9.5, plus 1 inch that will give me 10.5, and plus 2 inches for seam allowance, that will give me 12.5. Now I've put that 12.5 on fold. Now this is the front part of it. I let the right side face each other, and this is the back part of it. I let the right side face each other. I'll put it on each other like this. This is my zipper allowance, 2 inches zipper allowance at the back. So, and for this dress now, this place indicates my shoulder. From shoulder to my waist is 15 inches. Normally my shoulder to my waist is 17 inches. But for this dress, I'm going to use 15 inches for me to hide my tummy a little bit. So, if your shoulder to waist is 18 inches, just deduct 2 inches from it for you to hide your tummy a little bit in case you have a bigger tummy. So, here is it now. Here is 15 inches here. And the remaining 1 inch will be for seam allowance. So on the shoulder here now, let me first of all rule out all the horizontal line. From my shoulder to my chest line, to get my chest line is going to be half of my round armhole, and my round armhole is 18 inches divided by 2 is 9 inches. Here is it here. So from my shoulder to my bust point is 10 inches plus half inch seam allowance. That will give me 10.5. From my shoulder to my under bust is 13 inches, 13.5, sorry, plus half inch. That will give me 14 inches. And from my shoulder to my waist is 15. The remaining one will be for the seam allowance. So let me make it a straight roller. Let me extend all the lines for each. So that's just it. So on my shoulder here, I'm going to input half of my shoulder line here. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5 plus 1 plus half inch seam allowance. That'll give me 8 inches. Yes, it. On my chest line, I'm going to input it as well. So 8 inches. For me to create my armhole curve, I'm going to connect it like this. So that's just it. And to create my armhole curve, I'll just place my, let me first of all create my neckline. The neckline I'm using for this dress today is 3 inches in width and 3 inches in depth for the front. And as for the back, I'm using 1 inch. Then first of all connect this one like this. I'm using my free hand to connect it. Just like this. So my back will be 1 inch. I'm going to connect it just like this. If your shoulder is longer than mine, mine is 15 inches. If yours is 16 inches, just make sure you increase your neck width and depth by 0.25, which is quarter of an inch. Since it's a sleeveless dress, I'm creating the same armhole for the both back and front. And to make my sleeveless a little bit sexy, I'm going to come here and measure 2.5 downward like this, and I'm going to create new armhole for my dress just like this. This is my new armhole for it. If you want it to be longer than that, you can increase it to 3 inches or 3.5, or you can leave it like this, but you are going to create front armhole for it to make it beautiful. So on my chest line, I'm going to input quarter of my bust, which is 9.5 plus 2 inches seam allowance. That will give me 11.5. Is it and on my waistline, on my under bust line, I'm going to input quarter of my under bust. My under bust is 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches plus 1 inch for that. That'll give me 9 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance. That is 11 inches. On my waist, I'm going to input quarter of my waist. My waist is 34 divided by 4 is 8.5 plus 1 inch for that. That'll give me 9.5 plus 2 inches seam allowance. That'll give me 11.5. There's it. And I'm going to connect it with my free hand just like this. So I'll now cut it out. This is the old armhole. I'm not going to cut it through here. I'm cutting the new armhole for both back and front. So I'm cutting the back neck first. I'm going to separate it. Cutting my neckline for the front. So that's just it for the front. And as for the back, on my waistline here, to avoid zip bug at the back, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. I'm going to connect it down to the waist here. Going to cut it out to avoid zip bug. Open the zipper side just like this. I'm going to mark on the wrong side for me not to make a mistake. It's the wrong side of it. So, and I also want to do something. This is my zipper allowance for the back. For my, her waist here is curvy. To make it a little bit curvy, I'm going to come up by 1 inch on the waistline here. I'm going to connect it just like this to be a little bit curved at the waist. So I'll now cut it out. My shoulder slope, lest I forget. Just it for the upper part. I'm going to cut lining for it, and as for the down part, I'm going to deduct that upper part, which is 15 inches, from the full length of my dress to get my down part. to get the length of my. As for the width of my down part, if you want it to be a little bit full, you can make it 2 times of your waist, but I want it to be a little bit fuller. This is 3 times of my waist now. This is for my down part. I'm not adding lining to it. If you want it to be full so much, you can add lining to your own. But as for the upper part, I'm cutting lining for it. So I'm going to finish my upper part before cutting my collar out. So let me quickly cut the lining for the upper part for me to proceed. I finished cutting the lining for both back and front. This is the front part of it, and this is the back part of it. I have 2 pieces of lining here because the fabric too is 2 pieces for the back part. Let's proceed to the sewing. This is my front and this is my back. So I'm joining the lining and fabric separately because it's a sleeveless dress to make it neat and beautiful. So I'll go ahead and place my back. This is the front lining. I'm placing my back on it like this. I'm going to join the shoulder with 1/2 inch. Both shoulder with 1/2 inch. I'm going to do the same thing on the fabric. Place it like this and join the shoulder with 1/2 inch. This is the fabric. This is the right side of it. I'm going to place my back on it. Let the right side face each other like this. And join the shoulder with 1/2 inch. I'm done with the joining of the shoulder, both fabric and the lining. Here's it. I've joined the shoulder. Here's it. And this is the both back. This is the front part of it. So I'll now go ahead and place my lining on it. Just make it lay like this and place lining on it like this. I'll let the right side of the lining face the right side of the fabric. So like this. Just place it very well like this. Let me turn it like this for you to see it very well. There's the front part. Let the lining, the right side of the lining face the right side of the fabric. And this is the back part of it. So here's it. Just let it lay on it like this. And you now go ahead. I'll go ahead and stitch from the side here. The side here. Stitch with 1/2 inch. Go through the armhole. Just like this. And end it here. That is for that part. And I'm going to do the same thing on the second side of it here. Stitch with 1/2 inch from the side here, go through the armhole with 1/2 inch and stop it here. As for the back here, as for the zipper side here, you just stitch with 1/2 inch, and the second one too, you stitch. Now I've finished joining the lining to the fabric. Here's it. And before turning it to the right side, I'm going to notch the armhole round with 1/4 inch. Both armhole, I'm going to notch it round with 1/4 inch before turning to the right. Finish notching the armhole, both armhole with 1/4 inch. Make sure you always trim all the excess thread and fabric to make your job neat, please. So I'll now go ahead and turn it out. So I'm going to turn it out like this, and this side too, I'm going to bring it out like this. Now I've finished turning it out to the right side. So I'll now go ahead and, this is my neckline here. I'll go ahead and, I didn't stitch the lining with the fabric. I'll go ahead now and lock it up with 1/4 inch. I'm going to join the collar to it later. Now I've locked up the neckline with 1/4 inch. So I'll now go ahead and place my dart on it. This is the front part folded into two, and this is the back part, the two pieces of it. This is my zipper allowance. So from the shoulder here to get my front start, I'm going to measure my nipple to nipple, my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10 inches. Here is it here. Let me make it a straight line for you to understand very well. That's it. So from the center front, I'm going to input half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5, because my nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches. So I'll now add half-inch seam allowance to it. I'll make it 4 inches. Here is it here. On the waistline here, I'm going to input it as well. Connect it to form a straight line. And I'm going to add 2 inches to my bust point from the shoulder. Whatever inches your bust point is, just add 2 inches to it. That is where you start your dart will start from front dart. So I'll now go ahead and input half-inch on both sides on the waistline here. Half-inch on both sides. Going to connect it slantly like this. Just like this. I'm going to do the same thing on the second part of it, but to make it reflect easily on the second part, just hold it here like this and dot it out. Hold the waistline to at the center of it, dot it out. So that is the way it can be reflected on the second side easily. So as for the back dart, from my shoulder to my chest line, I'm going to measure it out, which is here. This is my chest line for the back. I'm going to connect it. I'm going to make it a straight line, extend the line to make it a straight line like this. And to get my nipple to nipple measurement for the back, I'm going to place my tape measure on my zipper allowance here, not from the center back here, from where the zipper allowance is. I'm going to measure it out 4 inches. And on the waistline too, I'm going to measure it out 4 inches. I'm going to connect it to form a straight line, just like this. And to know where my dart will start, I'm going to come down from my chest line by 1 inch. And on the waistline, I'm going to input half-inch on both sides. Half-inch on both sides and connect it slantly like this. From the waist to this point, I'm going to connect it slantly. So to make it reflect on the second side of it, just hold it like this and dot it out. Hold this place too like this and dot it out. And to sew it, I'll just do it like this. I'm going to hold it like this and stitch from the waist to this place slantly. Just make sure the waistline is up to half-inch. I'm going to do the same thing on the second side of the front, and I'm going to do the same thing on the back part of it too. I'm going to hold it like this, stitch from the waist by half-inch, connect it slantly to this point. Do the same thing on the second side of the part. I'm done with the dart. Here is the front part and here is the back part of it. So I'll now go ahead and place it on each other like this for my side seam. Here's it. I'm going to place it on each like this and stitch my side seam out. I'll let the side align on each other like this. I'll let it align very well on each other. I'll go ahead and stitch the side seam. You know, I added 2 inches for my side seam and I've used half-inch for the lining, so the remaining half-inch I'll go and stitch it out on both sides. So after that, I'll come and show you the next step. Now I'm done with the side seam. Here is it. As you can see, I'll now go ahead and gather the down part and join it to it. When I finish that, I'll come and show you. Now I finished joining the gathers to the upper part of the dress. If you want to know how I come about these gathers at the down part, I have a video on how to make gathers dress. I'm going to put the link in the box below for you to understand it. And I'll fix my zipper to it. So I'll now go ahead and cut my collar for the neckline. Before cutting the collar for the neckline, I'm going to measure what is at my neckline here. I'm going to measure it out to know the fabric I'm putting on fold for the collar. So here I have 8.75. So I'm going to take fabric for my collar now. Here is it. I'm going to fold it into two like this. Let the right side face each other. So this will be my starting point for the collar. So here now I'm going to measure from the center. Here is on fold. I'm going to measure that 8.75 plus half inch. This is 8.75 plus half inch will be here. It's going to be 9.25, which is 9¼ So here is it here. I'm going to mark it out like this. And I need a length of 1.5 for my collar. Before measuring the length for my collar, I'm going to come here now. I'm going to measure 1 inch upward, just like this. And I'm going to connect it. I'm going to use the curved part of my ruler to connect it like this. So that for my collar to lay very well on my neckline, I'm going to connect it like this. It's a little bit curved now. So from that curve, I'll now measure the length of my collar. The length of my collar is 1 inch plus, it's 1.5 inch. You can make yours 2 inches, depends on your choice. Plus 1 inch seam allowance, that will make it. This line now, I'm going to measure that 2.5 out all through. 2.5 all through. So I'm going to connect it with my free hand, all the points. So that's just it. And here now, I'm not going to leave it straight like this. I'll just come here and measure 0.25 inward, because I want it to be a little bit slant. I'll let it slant like this. So I will now cut it out. Here too, I'm going to cut it out like this. So this was it for the collar. And I'm going to cut one more of these to make it 2, because I'm going to use it to turn each other. And I'm going to go ahead and cut interface. Sorry, my camera went off. I make sure I gum the gum stay on one side of the collar, and I've stitched here with half inch. Here is it. I've stitched it with half inch, and this side too. So before closing up this second side, I'm going to make my button loop by double folding this small fabric like this and fold it again like this to make my button loop. So when I finish with this, I'll come and show you how to fix it on this side. The diameter of your button will determine the length of your button loop before fixing it. So I'm going to fold it into 2 like this. I'm going to fix it in like this. Fix it in like this. And the second one, make sure you leave about half inch in between it and fix the second one too. So, and at the down part here, you have to leave the seam allowance, which is half inch, before stitching on it. So when I finish with that, I'll come and show you. Now I'm done with my collar. Here is it, and I've ironed it out. I've fixed my button loop to it. It's 2. So, and I've already turned the seam allowance in. I've ironed it. So I'll now go ahead and fix it on my neckline by putting it inside it like this. I'll open my collar up like this and put my neckline inside it like this. I'll let it be inside it very well. If you like, you can pin it down. If you are a beginner, you can pin it down before sewing on it. And I'm going to stitch on the right side till I reach the second back neckline like this. So when I finish all that, I'll give it nice ironing. And lest I forget, I'm going to hem my bottom, the bottom of my dress. I'm going to hem it and give it nice press. After all that, I'll show you the finishing look of it. So that's just it. If you find my tutorial helpful, guys, you can give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel to support my channel. If you have a question pertaining to cutting and sewing, you can join me on my Facebook group, Details to Sewing, created by Akorede Adenike. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Akorede Adenike. Till I see you in my next video, guys. Stay blessed.